They join us now on the right to go through all the transfer tittle. It's Ben Jacobs, talkSPORT's transfer guru, one of many that we have here. Ben, good evening, sir.
Evening,
Ben.
Good
evening. How are you?
Very well indeed, matey. Look.
By the way, Ben, is it the camera? Tremendous set of teeth you got there.
The teeth are pretty good. My dad's actually a dentist, believe it or not. So I got no excuse. I've done my Invisalign, my braces, my whitening.
Oh, well, you got some big old compliments on your gnashers.
Yeah.
The rest of the face is the problem, but the teeth are fine.
Let's move on. So what's going on, Chesco? That feels as though it's going to be the domino effect if things go. If he goes to Newcastle, then he feels like Isak and so on and so on. I don't want to bore people with it, but where are we right now, this very second? Manchester United a little bit further down the line than Newcastle, would you say?
I think Newcastle are further down the line in terms of the club to club, but Manchester United's belief this evening is real confidence that Benjamin Sesko wants to move to Old Trafford. And with that, of course, they can very easily go to Leipzig and strike a deal. So naturally, Newcastle's offer is higher. It's a better structure. But I'm told that Newcastle have thrown the kitchen sink on the agent side, on the player side, with Leipzig. And yet still, he's not on a plane to Newcastle, and Manchester United never planned on bidding without player buy-in. And this evening, 24 hours or so after making their first formal approach, Manchester United's feeling is that the player wants to join Manchester United. And usually in this type of context, players get their way. Manchester United might need to up their offer, but I think there's a real feeling now that Chesco is going to end up at Old Trafford, not St James's Park.
Ben, I was talking to Jason in the break about what's going on here, because you wouldn't bid 75 million and make yourself look stupid unless the player's agreed through his agent that he wants to sign for you. So a couple of things could be going on, being involved in these things in the past. Either the agent's telling both clubs that he wants to sign for both of them and he's playing them one against the other to get more money. The agent might be getting paid more off Man United than Newcastle. So he persuades the player, because that's what they do. They persuade the player to sign for that club because he might be getting more money. Someone's told Isak to start causing havoc around the club and let it be known that you are not staying there. So they want to get rid of you. So there's lots of things going on, but I can't believe one of these clubs is going to look stupid. How can you bid 75 million for a player and he decides not to sign for you? Surely it's all locked in. Something's going on somewhere that's not quite right.
Yeah, I think for Newcastle, it's a familiar pattern. They tried to go early on this one and blow Manchester United out of the water. But if Newcastle miss out on Benjamin Sesko, it will be throughout the summer this familiar pattern of being highly ambitious in their targets, and people forget that, but losing out when another club comes along. Maybe because they can offer more money, maybe the project just suits the player. But if Newcastle lose out on Chesco to Manchester United, it will naturally get pointed out that the front three, Matheus Cunha, Newcastle target, Brian and Bruno, Newcastle target, Benjamin Sesko, Newcastle target, all three players ending up at Manchester United. Add to that João Pedro to Chelsea, James Trafford to Manchester City, and naturally a lot of Newcastle fans are going to be a little bit worried. Though again, I come back to what I said before. This is a window with Champions League football where Newcastle have elevated the calibre of signings that they're looking for. But I think in essence, what's happening is just two different tactics. Newcastle knew from day one that they would be bidding without a categorical yes from Chesco. So they had to be quick. They had to bid high. They had to give the agent what he wanted. And they had to hope that last night in particular, when Manchester United saw that big 90 million euros number, they went, wait a minute, we've got an out to walk away here. And we can always say we were never going to bid because Benjamin Sesko was too expensive. By Manchester United not doing that, and in fact going to the opposite extreme and putting down an 85 million euros bid, I think the feeling is they've got confidence that Chesco wants to join. And that's why my expectation is eventually this deal will get done and Chesco will head to Manchester, not Newcastle.
Ollie Watkins has been linked with Manchester United a number of times over the last 3 or 4, so certainly loosely. Is there any interest still there for Ollie Watkins?
Yeah, I think the Watkins situation is fascinating because clubs have made inquiries, Newcastle United and again Manchester United. They've been told that Watkins is 60 million and that Villa don't really want to sell. You got Evan Gessard coming in from Nice, but my expectation is he's more a John Duran replacement, albeit a belated one, a younger attacker who's versatile to play with and offer competition to Ollie Watkins, not to replace him. But Watkins throughout the window, as time ticks away, may be subject of an approach. I think it's logical to say whoever misses out on Chesco from Man United and Newcastle will turn to either Ollie Watkins or Nicholas Jackson. And in Newcastle's case, in addition, Johan Wissa, because they want two attackers to come in. So keep an eye on the Watkins situation, but Villa's stance hasn't changed. They don't want to sell. They won't sell without another replacement in addition to Gessard. Maybe that's Jackson. And as things stand, therefore, Watkins is going to be tough to get out of Aston Villa. Jackson's a different story because Chelsea are now willing to sell. It's just their valuation is quite high. So we'll have to wait and see whether anyone meets it. But of course, if you're Chelsea, you're rubbing your hands here because Jackson's been linked with Man U. Jackson's been linked with Newcastle. Both of these clubs have just put in excess of 70 million on the table. So nobody now, if they're negotiating with Chelsea and they miss out on Chesco, can be accused of not having the money. And that's why I think at the end of the day, there might be a deal there to be had for Nicholas Jackson because Chelsea are willing sellers, whereas Aston Villa aren't.
Just going back to Ollie Watkins, I don't know if you've seen the friendly they played. I think it was in Nashville. I don't know if you've seen the goals he scored. I've seen the highlights. Ollie Watkins' goal he scores. You wouldn't sell him just by watching the goal. If you get a chance to look at it, his movement in the box, he gets a header, near post, top corner. And then Mallon scores a great goal as well. So they've got them two. And this Gussard's coming in who looks like a bit like John Duran type. You know, big, strong, powerful, skillful, holds the ball up. But I can't believe they'd sell Ollie Watkins. They would sell him. I just can't believe it. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, and they might not. And I think that's the point, that Villa are not going out there going, you can have Ollie Watkins. We heard some suggestions in the last 24 hours that 40, 45 million might be enough late in the window. 60 million's the number. It's not changed from when Arsenal bid. It's not changed from when Man United inquired. It's not changed with Newcastle United maybe pre-spending a bit of Alexander Isak money. So there is a possibility, in fact, a strong chance that Ollie Watkins doesn't go anywhere. But that doesn't mean that suitors won't try. But I think Gessard coming in is not about paving the way for Watkins to depart. So if Watkins goes, Villa would have to try for Jackson or another proven striker with a bit more experience than Gessard, and then the door might be open, but not at 40, 45 million. I think Ollie Watkins is a 50 or 60 million pound player. And if clubs choose to go for him, they have to accept that they're paying a high price for an instant return, even though compared to Chesco, you might only get 2 or 3 seasons at peak level out of him, whereas you put the same money or more towards Chesco, and if it all goes according to plan, your long-term return on investment is higher because he's going to be younger and be at the football club for 5-6 years.
Just to add into the jigsaw puzzle, which is going on right now, we got Mateta, we've got Højlund at Man United. If he looks like he's on his way out, because you don't spend 75 million on a striker and keep Højlund. He's obviously out on his way out the door. You've got Callum Wilson, Vardy. There's still a few strikers left straggling out there, but I don't know what's going to happen to Højlund. He's obviously on his way out, but what's the future for him?
Yeah, Rasmus Højlund said publicly he wants to stay and fight for his place, but Manchester United are willing to sell. And it was interesting that we learned through sources only 48 hours after Højlund's comments that his plan is to stay, that Rasmus Højlund's available for £30 million. And to be honest with you, in this market where everything is inflated, that price is phenomenal for somebody if Højlund is prepared to leave. So I think Manchester United, especially if they get Chesco, are prepared to put Højlund on the market. There was some talk about Leipzig, but I've been told that Højlund doesn't want to go there. They've got no European football. Jamie Vardy's a free agent late in the window. He'll be a good pickup for somebody, whether in the Premier League or beyond. You got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, high wage, but free transfer as well. Callum Wilson, who you mentioned, has already been snapped up by West Ham United. And again, I think they saw opportunism in that deal. So we are going to see a bit of a striker merry-go-round. You've got Randal Kolo Muani, who wants to go to Juventus, but they've not struck a deal just yet. So there's a few late window opportunities. And I'll add one more to the mix as well for Premier League clubs, and that's Alexander Mitrovic. Because if Darwin Nunez goes to Al Hilal, or even Milan, of course, but Al Hilal's the sort of bigger one because they'll need an exit, or even if he doesn't go and they bring in another number 9, which is the intent, right at the beginning of the window, remember, they tried for Victor Osimhen. Hilal then went ambitiously for Benjamin Sesko. Now they're up against Milan for Darwin Nunez. Because of the foreign quota, if a big name striker arrives at Al Hilal, Mitrovic will be the one that they want out. And a bit like John Duran being loaned to Fenerbahce from Al Nassr, a loan is possible. Right. And for Premier League clubs thinking short term, with some of the wage covered by Al Hilal, Mitrovic at 30 might be a late window opportunity as well to keep an eye on.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.